Hey YouTube family, welcome to another episode of Stick Shift Stories. Today's an exciting day because we're going to be reviewing the 5th generation Ford Bronco built from 1992 through 1996. And we want to know, is this truck worth your money and what type of common problems will you run across? Stay tuned because this is going to be a great episode and one you won't want to miss. The first generation Bronco was made available to the buying public at the end of 1965 as a 1966 model. It was available as a roadster, sport ute, and wagon body style, and Ford was really able to market this vehicle as a multi-purpose unit. This all-purpose utility vehicle was something that you could take to work and get some serious work done with, take off-roading, or put your buddies in and go to the beach with. And since it was a full-size body-on-frame design, it was really tough. It could tow a lot of things, it was available with powerful engines, and shared lots of components with the F-Series pickup trucks so parts were readily available. There were also some really cool concepts like this Ford Bronco Boss concept. The exterior design of the 5th generation Ford Bronco can be summed up in one word: handsome. This is a seriously good-looking truck, through and through. Some may even say that the design is timeless. The front end was borrowed from the then newly redesigned 1992 Ford F-150 pickup truck and really makes a fine statement on the Bronco. The combination of the 9-hole grille, headlights, and rounded front bumper work together to create a cohesive front end look. The profile of the vehicle features a body line that runs from the front of the vehicle through the door, under the door handle, and ends just above the rear taillight. The integrated look of the removable fiberglass top adds character, while the front doors offer vent windows that allow fresh air to enter the cabin. The B-pillar gives way to the large windows built into the fiberglass topper, so visibility is decent, while the rear end has a simplistic yet clean design with an integrated power window in the tailgate. A Ford emblem sits to the right of the left taillight. The overall look is truck-like and attractive, yet the Bronco never looks overbearing. This is simply a design that was just right. The 5th generation Bronco had an available XLT NITE package for the 1992 model year only. The package consisted of a raven black exterior trim including the bumpers, bodyside graphics with the NITE nomenclature, a swing-away spare tire carrier with the NITE logo on the tire cover, and forged deep dish alloy wheels. For the 1995 through 1996 model years, the XLT Sport package gave the exterior a monochrome finish. Available in white, red, or black, the Sport package featured a color-keyed grille, headlight surrounds, cab steps, and black aero mirrors. The Eddie Bauer models came with a unique paint scheme with the fiberglass top and lower half of the body generally painted in a Tuscan bronze or light saddle color. They also came standard with the deep dish aluminum alloy wheels. In the early to middle 90s, trucks hadn't yet made the push towards extreme luxury, but Ford did what they could to keep drivers and passengers happy. Designers incorporated a decent amount of creature comforts into the cabin. All models but the base Custom or XL came with cloth front bucket seats with power lumbar adjustments. XLT and Eddie Bauer models featured a color-keyed 2-piece headliner, a full set of instrument gauges along with a tachometer, and speed control with a tilt steering wheel. 1994 models saw the addition of a new steering wheel design along with a driver's side airbag. The full gauge package was easy to read and used white font and had the tachometer placed towards the right side. Base Custom or XL models without the tachometer had the speedometer right in the middle with the other auxiliary gauges flanked on either side. The interior had an ergonomic design with the HVAC controls on the bottom and the radio on the top. The rotary dials for the HVAC controls were easy to use with gloves and were well marked. The front seat comfort was rated pretty high by passengers and drivers, and there was plenty of room in the interior for up to 5 passengers. Starting in the 1992 model year, 3-point rear safety belts were included to add an extra measure of security and safety for the passengers sitting in the back. The power rear window that really allows a lot of air to get into the cabin when it's rolled down and allows you to have great visibility out the back. Ford touted the PowerPoint electrical outlet as a great thing to use on your brake to plug in things like an electric shaver or coffee pot. 94 and newer Eddie Bauer models came with this nice overhead console that included a compass, outside temperature display, map lights, garage door storage, and a storage pocket. They also came with an auto-dim rearview mirror and Eddie Bauer specific Ford garment bag and duffel bag. Without the swing-away spare tire carrier, the spare tire is stored inside of the Bronco to the right side of the vehicle. The rear seat is removable, giving owners flexibility in being able to carry very large or long items. You'll also notice that backseat passengers have an ashtray as well as a cup holder to maintain their comfort. While not as fancy as a lot of today's pickup truck interiors, the interior of the 5th generation Bronco offered buyers exactly what they wanted: a lot of comfort and the ability to know that everything was within easy reach for them to use. The base engine for the 1992 model year was Ford's venerable 4.9-liter inline-six engine. This engine delivered an EPA estimated city and highway mileage of 12 and 16 respectively, while it offered up 145 horsepower at 3,400 RPM and 265 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM. After the 1992 model year, this engine was dropped from the Bronco line. Next up in the engine lineup was the 302 cubic inch 5.0-liter V8 engine. This engine was produced by Ford from 1969 through 1996 in their F-Series pickup trucks and other various Ford applications. The 90-degree V8 had a cast iron engine block and cast iron cylinder head material. This engine produced around 185 to 205 horsepower and 270 to 275 pound-feet of torque depending on the model year. It was a really good engine and had no major problems in its 27 years of service. The 5-liter is rated at 12 miles per gallon in the city and 15 miles per gallon in highway driving. The most powerful engine available on the 5th generation Ford Bronco was the Ford 351 cubic inch Windsor V8. This 90-degree V8 offered up a cast iron engine block and cylinder head design and produced around 210 horsepower along with 325 pound-feet of torque at around 2,800 RPM. Fuel economy was rated at around 12 in the city and 15 in the freeway. The manual transmission was a 5-speed M50D-R2 manual transmission, and the 5th gear acted as an overdrive gear. Whereas for the 4-speed automatic transmission, it offered up the E40D overdrive automatic transmission. You could hit the overdrive off button to maintain the vehicle in 3rd gear, which was very useful if you're towing or going up hilly terrain. All 5th generation Ford Broncos came equipped with 4-wheel drive. The Bronco was equipped as standard with automatic locking hubs, but manual locking hubs and the 4x4 electronic touch drive were optional. Electronic touch allowed the driver to shift on the fly from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive high at normal road speeds. To lock the automatic hubs, you would simply stop the vehicle, shift into 4-wheel drive high. The hubs were then automatically locked as soon as you started driving forward. The automatic hubs worked similarly with either the manual shift transfer case or the touch drive push button transfer case. When the transfer case is shifted into 4-wheel drive, the front drive shaft starts spinning, which then turns the front axles and engages the front hubs. With the manual locking hubs, you would need to get out of the vehicle and turn the front selector knobs a quarter of a turn to lock the hubs into 4-wheel drive. You would then get inside the cabin and push the button to engage 4-wheel drive or pull the transfer case lever inside the cabin to a 4-wheel drive setting. The Bronco is a full-size body-on-frame 4x4 utility truck. It featured a twin traction beam front axle, 4-wheel anti-lock disc brakes starting for the 1993 model year, as the 1992 model only had rear-wheel anti-lock, heavy-duty gas shock absorbers, a front stabilizer bar, and a 32-gallon gas tank. The rear sported an 8.8-inch axle first introduced for the 1983 model year, and the front used the Dana 44 TTB unit first used in 1980. There were lots of really great options available on the 5th generation Ford Bronco. On the XLT and higher trim models, you could get the optional leather interior. The optional power door locks and windows had a really nice controller right on the door card. The The outside mounted swing-away spare tire carrier really gave the Bronco a cool look. The manual locking hubs was a great option for those who wanted a simplistic yet reliable 4x4 system. The optional forged deep dish alloy wheels were a great touch, and they got rid of the fake rivets starting in the 1994 model year. Eddie Bauer models came standard with these deep dish wheels. There were some really nice two-tone paint options available, like the deluxe two-tone or the Bayside two-tone. Some of the great paint options included the bright red clear coat, the brilliant blue clear coat metallic, and the desert copper clear coat metallic. An automotive first, some 1996 models were available with the Bronco's new turn signal indicator side view mirrors. Like any used car, there are some things to be mindful of if you're looking at a 5th gen. For example, if you're only getting air coming out of the defrost vents, it may be a vacuum problem. The HVAC system is designed to provide defrost when no vacuum is present at 3 air door vacuum motors. A leak in the vacuum control circuit will send all the airflow to the defrost outlets. If the leak is small, this may occur during acceleration, whereas a large leak will indicate that this is present at all times. Or it may simply happen only when certain specific functions are selected, which would indicate a leak in that portion of the vacuum circuit. Since the newest 5th gen is a 1996 model, be aware of rust issues. They can typically appear in areas like the rear fender lips, the front fender right below the badge, the rear tailgate, the rain gutters, and the B-pillar. Also, it's important to check all the spring hangers and the body mounts. A lot of times the battery tray can also get rusted out if the battery acid has corroded the metal in that area. It's also important to check the core support because it can rust really badly, especially between the frame rails and around the body mounts. Also, everything aft of the rear axle should be taken a look at since the tires kick up a lot of salt into the bodywork. If the power window switch for the rear window isn't working, generally you can replace the switch or trace the wires to make sure that there isn't a wiring issue. If you're getting water intrusion from the rear liftgate area, you can replace some of the weather stripping and the rubber plugs to ensure that water doesn't go inside the cabin. If your Bronco has a condition where it stops running after 20 minutes or suddenly stalls, it could be the TIF or PIP modules. These are connected to the ignition system, so if they're not working properly, you can lose spark, which will make your engine stop running. When it comes to the twin traction beam front end, there are some things to be mindful of. First is the beam pivot bushings, especially if you have a leaky oil pan. The oil can break down the bushings quickly, causing accelerated wear. An upgrade to poly bushings are available for a little bit better performance. Worn tie rod ends are another issue, especially if they're past their prime. They can cause a wandering front end and sloppy steering response. Worn tie rods also make it hard to properly align the front end. After all of this information, what's my verdict on the 5th generation Ford Bronco? Well, I give the 5th generation Ford Bronco a solid 8.5 out of 10 burnouts. It's a great, full-size, body-on-frame sport utility truck with a lot of character, good reliability, and a really handsome look. Thanks for watching this episode on the 5th generation Ford Bronco. Have a great day, and we'll see you for the next one.